Tell me about the Cuban Missiles Crisis. The Cuban Missile Crisis was a 13-day confrontation in October 1960 between the United States and the Soviet Union over Soviet ballistic missiles deployed in Cuba. It is often considered the closest the Cold War came to escalating into a full-scale nuclear war. Background 1. Cold War tensions. The Cold War between the US and the Soviet Union was characterized by mutual distrust and the threat of nuclear war. 2. Bay of Pigs invasion. In April 1961, the US attempted to overthrow Cuban leader Fidel Castro with the failed Bay of Pigs invasion, heightening tensions. Discovery. October 14, 1962, an American U-2 spy plane photographed Soviet missile sites under construction in Cuba. The presence of these missiles, just 90 miles from the US coast, represented a significant threat. The crisis. 1. Public address. On October 22, 1962, President John F. Kennedy addressed the nation, revealing the missile sites and announcing a naval blockade of Cuba to prevent further Soviet shipments of military equipment. 2. Diplomatic efforts. Intense negotiations took place between the U.S., the Soviet Union. The U.S. demanded the removal of the missiles, while the Soviet Union sought assurances that the U.S. would not invade Cuba. 3. Military preparations. Both superpowers were on high alert, with military forces prepared for potential conflict. Resolution to 1. October 28, 1962, Soviet Premier Nikita Khrushchev agreed to remove the missiles in exchange for a U.S. public declaration and agreement not to invade Cuba. 2. Secret agreement. The U.S. also secretly agreed to remove its Jupiter missiles from Turkey, which were near the Soviet border. Aftermath to 1. Improved communication. The crisis led to the establishment of a direct communication link between Washington and Moscow, known as the Hotline, to help manage future crises. 2. Nuclear Test Ban Treaty. In 1963, the U.S., Soviet Union, and United Kingdom signed the Partial Nuclear Test Ban Treaty, which prohibited nuclear tests in the atmosphere, outer space, and underwater. The Cuban Missile Crisis remains a pivotal moment in Cold War history, illustrating the potential for nuclear conflict and the importance of diplomacy in averting global disaster.